Savannah Miles, it's been a
Hi.
while. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Would you like to catch people up with where you're at? Because you were telling me you're not down south at the moment. Where are you?
I'm not. I'm in LA currently, but so we're getting a little bit colder now. I know you said that Australia is warming up, but I'm just going to colder places, sadly.
What are you doing in LA? Can you share, or
I'm
is it a
just
secret?
Oh no, it's not a secret. I'm just visiting friends.
Nice. Now I have a bone to pick with you. We never got our tennis match when I was over in the United States, and you told me you were coming to Sydney, and you never did. So my
I
question
need
is:
to.
do you hate me, or are you just avoiding me?
I neither of those things. I absolutely do need to make a trip to Sydney. We need to plan that together. Um, I have not played tennis in years, so I might need to go to Sydney to be refreshed. At the time, I think last time we talked, I had just started taking tennis lessons. Um, and let's just say my skills did not improve very much, but I have the cute outfits to go with it. So if we want to meet in
That's
Australia
all
and
that
try to
matters.
play, let's go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, believe me, I know a lot of people who only play tennis for the cute outfits. You actually sent me a video of you playing, and me being a former tennis coach, my first thought was, hang on, she's playing some shots with her left hand, and she's playing some shots with her right hand, and I think you said, "quote It's because I'm lazy." So what happened there?
Well, okay, when I was trying to play tennis, I realized, you know what?
Trying.
I'm afraid. I was trying. I was trying to. We pray for Savannah. It's just easier to switch hands. I feel like I don't know the skill part of this. I don't know if this is like not technically right. Probably not. But if the
No.
ball's like on this side, then you should just like move to the left hand and just. But if it's on this side, you can just use your right hand. It just like makes it. You don't have to run a few extra steps.
Are you ambidextrous?
I'm not, but maybe I am. Maybe I should have been.
No, because I saw a video, because actually I might bring this up now because you I think you're doing, is it your grandfather's condo? Like you were doing some renovations.
Yes, yes. All right, y'all, we're back for day two, and we had to kick it off with a peach milkshake and headed to the condo. Today was a lot of cleanup from yesterday, so I'm just picking up the wallpaper that is finally off the walls. They're looking so much.
I'm gonna hide that for a sec because I can't actually mute that, and I won't be able to hear you. But I saw in that, I thought I saw in that clip where you almost killed someone. By the way, and I'll get you to go into that. I saw you holding a sander or a drill, and I think you were using your right hand. That's why I asked you if you're ambidextrous.
I'm normally right-handed. I only have I'm not a super athletic girl, but the few times I've tried to play sports, like when I played lacrosse in like middle school, I normally play with my left hand for some reason. I don't know. My mom will also say
What?
like I organize on the left side. So I guess I'm like left hand heavy, but I write with my right hand.
I'm so confused right now. But if it works for you, it
I don't
works.
know if it makes
Um,
sense.
no, no, it doesn't. So tell me more. I was going to show that video, but I can't mute it for some reason. Tell me more about what you're doing with your grandfather's condo, because obviously that's a different side. Normally, Instagram, the highlight reel, shiny everything. That obviously is a different side of you. So what's going on there?
Yeah. So this condo actually was my big daddy's, which in the South, that's what we call our grandfather. He's actually owned it since like the 70s. So it's been in our family for a long time. He lived in it for, a short amount of time, ended up renting it out to this wonderful woman who lived in it for years, probably 30 plus years. And she decided to move out and move in with her daughter. So he passed about a couple years ago. And so he left this to our family. And so we, of course, want to keep this in our family, but it has not been touched since this elderly woman moved in like the
Right.
80s. So like it's
Okay.
original wallpaper, it's original cabinets, original everything, carpet and all the good, bad, and ugly. So my mom and I are really just like pouring love into it to restore it to be a 2024 rental where we can keep it in our family and it'll look beautiful for generations to come.
It's 30 years is quite a long time to go without like a sort of glow up, so to speak. So I imagine there was what are some of the things that you had to do? I saw wallpaper. I saw you unscrew. I think I saw you sitting in a sink unscrewing a cabinet. What are some of the
Yeah.
skills that you've learned?
Oh my gosh. So I'm super into renovating houses. I've flipped homes in the past before, but this one's a lot more of a labor of love. So I've ripped down wallpaper. That was my first time, which was so easy. If you ever are trying to take down wallpaper, don't hire someone, just do it yourself. It will take you a couple hours.
I thought you were going
Um,
to say hire you. It's like, oh, I'm a professional wallpaper remover.
I, Not on my resume.
Okay,
Not a
not yet.
professional. Not yet. And we're sanding the cabinets. I mean, the beauty of it is that back in the day, everything was such amazing quality. So what's great is that we can paint them, we can restore them. So that's kind of what we're
Oh, yeah.
cleaning there. But we have to rip out this carpet that's from the 70s. As you can imagine, it might need to come out.
Have you ripped out the carpet yet, or that's still to come? Because that sounds harder to do than ripping out the wallpaper.
Yeah, not yet. That's to come. I've been traveling a lot recently, so once I get home and have a few days, I'm gonna be there'll be another video. I'll tag you in it.
Amazing. Now, Ralph over in the States has said good evening, Adrian and Savannah. It's good morning from you,
Hi,
Ralph.
Ralph.
You know how this works. You just catch me up because I think last time we spoke was a couple of years ago, at least when I interviewed you. I think it was in the lead up to Teen Universe. And
Mm.
I know most of us, anyway, don't show everything we do on Instagram. But I sometimes look at all the different things you're doing and I'm going, I didn't know she did that. I didn't know she did that. And now she's doing this. And now you're over here, then you're over there. And at some point, which we'll get to, you also have decided to re enter pageantry. What is a day? Okay, just run me through what this year has been like for you.
Oh, what has this year been like for me?
I like
So
the
I guess
factual expression.
I think the beauty of like, life changes and opportunities arise. And I've always been a say yes kind of girl. So I've always been like multifaceted in that way where if it's willing to be there, I'm willing to try it. So in the last few years, I decided to go back to school for interior design. That's kind of what the last few years of my life has looked like, working more on like the residential interior design side. Um, so a lot of that, I model a little bit still. Travel a bunch. My mom and I are still running around like crazy people. Um, and that's really just become my life. And like you said, then I decided to enter this world of pageantry again. So my plate is very full, but I love it.
Yeah, so we should probably dig into the pageantry side because I am the pageant project and you are the pageant
You are.
queen. A lot of people saw your post, including former Miss USA Noelia, and she's obviously on your side. She loves you.
I love
A
her.
lot of people were excited to see you re-entering, including myself. My only question is, why now? Or was this always kind of the long-term strategic plan? At some point, I will feel ready to tackle, let's call it the biggest pageant, certainly in the world, and in the United States and the world. So
Yeah.
any reason why now, or was this always the plan?
So kind of strangely, when I was Miss Georgia Teen USA, I sat down and kind of made a vision board of what I wanted. And to be honest with you, my dream as a teen was I wanted to be Miss Georgia Teen USA. Like that was the end all be all for me. But in my heart, Miss USA held such more of a goal for me as a miss. I actually wrote down in a journal Miss USA 2025, Savannah Miles on it. And so I've always had that year circled that like 2025 would be the right year. And, coincidentally, as life went on, it's been 7 years since I was Miss Georgia Teen USA. So 7 years later, kind of
Wow.
everything aligned. And I'm at the point in my life now where I not only, I think there's been moments where I'm like, oh, I want to compete. I want to go back. I'm missing it. It's hard watching your friends do it. And you're like
Yeah.
on the sidelines cheering for them, which is so much fun. But after a while, you're like, when it will be my turn. And so it kind of just reached a point where life lined up and I feel like I'm ready to compete for Miss Georgia USA and hopefully win Miss Georgia USA. But I think at this point I could win Miss USA tomorrow and be ready to step into the role. And that's where I felt like I needed to be to take this chapter on.
When are you competing for Miss Georgia USA? Because you're Miss Georgia South USA. Is that the title?
Yes. So they haven't announced Miss Georgia USA, so I'm not sure quite yet. Hopefully in the beginning of next year.
Okay. What was it like stepping back into the world of pageantry? Because to me, it just looks like a fish going back to water. It seems very natural. But was it a bit weird, sort of getting back into it?
I think it was strange. It was a little bit different. Competing as a miss is a whole different ball game.
Mm,
But there were things that transferred over. And I think just the beauty of having the same support system as a teen. As a teen, I worked with the most amazing people, and they became family to me. So it was very easy when I decided to step into this role and this crazy journey all over again. I knew who to call now, and I knew what I needed to do to be ready. And so I'm excited for what it all entails.
what was for yourself transitioning from I can't believe it was 7 years. I mean,
I
I
know,
can't
right?
remember the first time when was the first time I interviewed you? How it
I
was
think 7
before
years
the
ago,
pandemic. My God, it can't. I'm feeling
because I was
old now.
Miss
It's like,
Georgia Teen USA. I was
yeah,
remember I was so that would have
yes,
to
I
be
remember.
7 years
I haven't
ago.
forgotten.
I know, but that's what the interview was. Yep, 7 years ago.
Yeah, and I remember you had your dislocated elbows. Oh, I'm
I
remembering
still
that
have
now.
them. I have long sleeves now, thankfully, so
Yeah,
we'll
thank
save
you.
that.
Yeah, thank God.
Throw
But
back the other
what was
video.
it like? What was it like transitioning from teen to miss? Because I know a lot of girls have
Mhm.
struggled with that, but then on the other hand, a lot of girls have actually felt more at home in miss. Because some of the girls behind the scenes have told me, well, teen, they kind of expected me to act like a teen, which kind of means you use shorter sentences, shorter words, and you act a bit less, maybe grown up. But then a lot of people have, so what was it like transitioning from teen to miss for you?
Mm. I think that's true. I think, there's beauty of a teen being a teen and a miss being a miss. But I think the truth is that you really are in those stages of your life. So looking at my journey as a teen, I wouldn't say I was like dumbing myself down, or I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to like act like a teen, but I truly was just an innocent, like
Hmm.
pure hearted young girl. And really, like the pageant journey for me at that age was transforming me and growing me. It was personal development for all intents and
Hmm.
purposes. And as a miss, it's a little bit of a different lens. Now I'm like an established woman, a young woman who knows what she's pursuing, knows who she is, more so than I did at 16 years old, thankfully. And so now this is more so of the mentoree becoming the mentor. And it's sweet now, especially have been a teen, to like have a little teen who looks up to me, like the miss and teen when they go places together. So it's just so sweet. There's like a little bit extra little love that comes with being a miss, and but it is a lot more pressure, I feel like, to just be a whole nother level. But I think that work you put in over the years to put yourself in this position.
Do you, at this point, how much like prep do you have to do? Because obviously you've been around pageantry since forever, and I'm sure Miss USA means a lot to you. At the same time, you have life going on. There's a lot, you can't just sit at home and, well, I don't know, maybe you can just sit at home doing pageant stuff, because it tends not to pay the bills that well. It tends to go the other way. It's like the most
Right.
expensive hobby ever. What sort of goes into prep for you at this stage?
I don't think anything is really different. I think the prep is still the same. And even though I do have some experience competing, I'm preparing for a whole different fight.
Mhm.
Um, and, I think it goes back to all the same things that we always prepare for. I would say the only difference as a miss is competing in a swimsuit is a lot different than competing in activewear. I will show up in leggings anywhere. I probably will not show up in a bikini most days of the year. So there's a mental aspect of that, the physical aspect of that to get ready for that phase of competition. But doing that and really just improving your interview to be, the miss of this organization. Miss USA is really the face of the Miss USA organization, obviously. And so, just preparing yourself to really step into that role and be ready, God willing.
Was it how difficult was it for you? You talk about the bikini section, and I'm sure that's daunting to a lot of people. It's not something that thankfully I ever have to understand or go through myself. God
Maybe.
willing.
Don't
Again,
speak so
no.
soon.
No, no. I was telling Savannah before we went live, I was doing some UGC for Amazon reviewing lip balms, and I didn't realize that lip balms could be colored. And I was doing the video, and then I looked up, and it's like deep purple lipstick. It was terrible. But I mean,
And
getting
yeah.
used to that, getting used to the bikini section, was that like the most daunting part for you? Was that the hardest part for you? Because interview, I've spoken to you so many times, and I thought even back when you were a teen, you interviewed very well. So
Mm.
was interview stepping up to the Miss level? Was that hardest? Was the bikini section the hardest, or some other part?
I feel like the interview, of course, is hard to some extent, and I don't think that was the biggest struggle for me. I
Hmm.
really don't think any phase of competition was the biggest struggle. I think that they all had their own, situations to work through. But for me, honestly, the mental aspect of this, the game between my ears, was a lot harder than the actual competition. Um,
Okay.
Honestly, it is hard when you've done pageants and you performed a certain way as a teenager, and you don't know if that's going to really transfer over when you start competing
Yeah.
as a miss. You see girls and you're like, oh, she's so much better as a miss. But you see girls and you're like, oh, she was just such an iconic teen. And it's hard to see them a different way. And so in my head, I think what I really struggled with is that I didn't want to look like 16-year-old Savannah. I didn't want anyone to see me and have flashbacks to like, oh, she's such a cute teen. So that was the biggest thing for me, was like understanding, okay, I'm a miss. I'm almost 24 years old. I'm totally ready to step into this role, and really just getting over the mental
Mhm.
struggle of that was the hardest thing. But thankfully, it all worked out.
Are we talking about weight of expectations here? Because I mean, obviously, you were Georgia Teen USA, and you said that was your dream title. And so you
Mhm.
swing back, and maybe you're thinking some people are going, "Oh, why did she come back? She already won the Georgia title. Why did she come back?" So is it sort of when you say the battle between the ears? Is it weight
Yeah.
of expectations?
Absolutely. I think even if I don't feel like a lot of people were putting pressure on me, thankfully, a lot of
Yeah.
like my immediate friends and family were like, this is your journey, whatever happens, happens. But it's
Mm.
hard not to like put some pressure on yourself. When you perform a certain way as a teenager, you hope that with years in between and preparing yourself even more that you'll perform even better.
You
But
get
that might
better.
not
Yeah,
always
not
be the
worse.
case. So yeah, I mean, if no one else put external pressure on me, I had tons of internal pressure, just, hoping that this would all work out. And I still
Did
haven't.
you
We haven't gotten over some of the big hurdles yet, but we're crossing our finger, we'll get there.
Well, I mean, this is because I remember, I don't know if you still have it, that I know you mentioned Instagram is a highlight reel. And since
Mhm.
you mentioned that, I've seen a lot of other girls mentioning that. And in all your posts, you look super happy. Something that I'm quite jealous of, because you always look
Aw.
super happy. Look something like, you know, that stereotype, oh, she's got her life together. Everything is kind of super easy for her. So it's interesting
Mhm.
when you say you were dealing with that battle in your head. Um, I mean, life isn't always easy, so
Yeah.
how do you make your way through those tougher times away from social media?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love that you feel that way about me.
It's
And
good
and
that I
like,
think of you as a happy person, not as a miserable person.
well, that's good. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I think the beauty for me has always been just what I can control. I can't control
Mhm.
life. I can't control what others do to me. I can't control what life throws my way, but what I can control is how I react. And that's something I've always really held on to. And finding the beauty in everything is really the source of life. Like, if you can't be happy with the girl you look in the mirror and see, or the man that you look in the mirror and see, no one else can make you happy. No thing can make you happy. No results can make you happy. So really just doing inner work and, feeling completely content in who you are and what you bring to the table. And then nothing can really harm you when it comes your way.
Who's been your biggest inspiration in that area? Because I mean, that all sounds great, but those are not lessons that you just learn at school. These are deeper life
Yeah.
lessons. So where did you pick this up from?
Well, I think it's been a cereal box of people. I think and it's true. You don't learn it at school. You have to do this work.
Mhm.
I'm a huge proponent of finding people who pour into you, whether it's someone you actually know. My mom is an angel. My mom is, I'm sure I've talked about her in all these interviews. She's like iconic. She's so good to me. Um, I, totally am into this. I love having a therapist. I think everyone should talk to someone. I love inspirational podcasts. I love Jay
Mhm.
Shetty. Really just finding like books and people that speak truth into you and fuel you to be able to take on this crazy life. I think you have to find those people for you, whether it's friendships, relationships, people that you would never even meet on Spotify, on your podcast, wherever you might find your podcast. Finding those people who really just breathe life into you is the way to go. And doing that work is very essential.
So how, from the very first moment that we spoke, I still can't believe it's 7 years, and I still can't believe you're almost
I know.
turning 24. That's
I
just
know.
in my head. I'm like, what? But how that girl that I spoke to the first time to now, what are some of the difference? What are some of the like the biggest lessons that you've had to learn from that time to now?
A very deep question.
It is. We're going there because we talked about everything else.
Yeah. Um, I think one of the biggest things I've learned is that life will throw things your way. You can't plan it all. Um, you know, I think my story has had different pockets of peace, different pockets of passions, different pockets of craziness. But really, you just have to roll with the punches. I think when we first talked, I was going to college for biomedical engineering. I wanted to be a doctor more
Mm,
than anything. And, you know, to summarize it, life changed, my heart changed, my passion changed, and that is 100% okay.
yeah,
And I think I wish someone would have sat me down and said, you know, I love those goals, but if they change, even
yeah.
better. You grow, you adapt, and that's what we should all be striving for. You can't hold on to something that's not tangible
Mm.
and right now. Having goals are great, but being willing to be open if they change is even better.
How do you know when it's okay to change a goal and when you're just not sticking with it? That's a tough one
Mm.
though, because young people especially, and I still categorize you in that generation, the
I'll
young
take it.
generation can the young people can often be accused of you don't stick at anything. First you're doing this, then you're doing that, then you're doing that. But I also
Mhm.
feel that the older generation doesn't understand and that times have changed. Like I think the statistic, there's some crazy statistic out there now that during your work life, you're going to have 5 to 7 different careers, not
Wow.
jobs. But for example, doctor, interior designer, realtor, all these things. So how do you make that distinction in yourself between, okay, I wanted to be a doctor, now I want to do something else, versus I should just stick at it until I'm done?
Yeah. I think that's different for everyone and for every situation. I think the key to this is it's important to try everything. Um, and I know, like, my grandparents' generation would be like, stick to one thing and see it through,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't work out, then back up. I've never been of that belief. I think if the best thing you can do is try it all, and if you fail, you can either decide to pour your life into it and be better, or you can decide that that wasn't for you. But finding things that serve you is so
Mm,
vital. And sometimes those are not the first things that you think of. I thought being a doctor meant, oh, I'm going to be able to care for people. And really, knowing your values and knowing the foundation and the why of why you're doing a lot of things is the key. And then all of
mm,
the extra things kind of fall into place. So like for
yeah.
me, I knew I loved this sounds cliche, but I loved helping people. I loved seeing people light up. I loved making their life better. And I thought that that meant, oh, I need to be a doctor.
Mm,
But as life went on and I tried new things, I realized I got that same fulfillment from doing interior design. By
mm,
making someone's life a little better in their home was way more satisfying to me than me being in a hospital, majority of my days. So I think it's not always the sources you think you're going to find your fulfillment, and to try it all. You never know until you try. So go for them.
I think it's interesting you mentioned that wanting to help people, because I think that's a very common thread between a lot of people. They say, what's important to you? It's like, I just want to help people. And I can
Hmm.
say this is coming from a family of doctors because my father is a doctor, my mother is a doctor, my
Oh,
brother's a
wow.
doctor. I'm the only one who's not. I got the marks to be a doctor, and rebel that I was, I decided
Wow.
I'm doing anything other than being a doctor. But I can tell you from firsthand experience from them, it isn't actually, you don't sometimes get that feeling that you're helping people, because a lot of people go to doctors and they're miserable, they're frustrated because of their health
Right.
system, or they've been bounced around. And I got to think that, interior design, I mean, why don't you tell me what's important? Like, why do you love interior design? Because, everyone has different passions, and going from doctor to interior design, a lot of people will go, well, those two
Very
are
different.
completely different, but obviously you love it. So
Mhm.
what makes you love interior design?
Ooh, so many things. I think, the biggest thing for me, one of the biggest things, I love that a space can have so many personalities and so many different uses for so many different peoples. It's so personalized.
Mm,
Even if you were looking for a home, let's just say, and you went and toured 30 homes. Every home you went to, you would pick up on something different and see a different component of your life there. And if I went in there, I would see something totally different. So I think it's beautiful that the viewership sees such a different outlook in every situation, in every scenario, and every room. So I love doing residential design. That's kind of my bread and butter. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I love that it's so tailored to people. It's understanding the person and mirroring them in a space is such a beautiful work of art. And you know that's the space where they have some of their life's biggest, sweetest
yeah.
moments. So it's just so special to be a part of just those little pockets in people's lives.
How do you do that though? Like, how do you get to know someone to be able to translate it into the interior design?
I will say this is where pageants have helped me significantly because you interview them. You ask them, like, absolutely, I become the world's best pageant judge. You ask them all kind of good questions. My favorite question, which tells a lot about someone, is where is your favorite place to go on vacation? Or what is your favorite memory that's not happened in your home? So, for instance,
Oh,
like if someone's like, I love going skiing, then that rings my bell of, okay, you love like a bunch of textured things. You love fur. You love things that feel warm. You love warmth in a
okay.
space. So there's like different little things I can pick up on based on some things that people say.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
that's clever. I've never thought. I'm just turning that over in my head. So if you asked me that question, where's my favorite place? What was that the question? Where's my
Yeah.
favorite place?
Where's your favorite place to vacation?
Anywhere near the ocean. I need to see, I don't need to be in it, but anywhere where I can hear the ocean, see the ocean, that's my happy place. So based on that, where
Okay.
do we go from there?
I would say you like peace. You probably are like greens, blues, calm. You
Blues.
like a little neutral, but you like some color, some blues. I could see that.
Yeah, blues.
A lot of
I'm wearing he
fluidity.
says as he's wearing a blue jacket.
You see, I could see
Yeah.
that. But yeah, no, I could see that with you.
It because what the other thing that I love is a lot of light. I don't know if this is part that comes into
Yes,
interior design. One of the things that drives me crazy is when people buy a lovely new house and it's got amazing big windows, because I love the sunlight. I hate being cooped up indoors. And then the first thing they do is put up these giant curtains to block all the sunlight.
it's
So
the
for me,
worst.
yeah, I don't understand why people wouldn't like sunlight. To me, that just seems complete, doesn't make any sense. But blues,
I
yes.
understand.
I also quite, as I said, large windows. And I don't know,
Mhm.
how would you describe it? Like, I don't really like carpet is a thing. I prefer,
Mm.
tiles or
Hardwood?
slate or marble. And I think I'm quite modern, like, bench tops, kitchen tops. So does this make any, like, how would you describe that kind of aesthetic?
You're probably like, I would say you are like modern, oh my gosh, what are the words? Why am I drawing a blank?
I
Mm,
want to say
like modern
minimalist. I don't know
organic,
if it's
modern organic,
modern
yeah.
organic.
Mhm.
Okay.
If you ever look up on Pinterest, like modern organic minimalist, very like California style, I feel like that would fit your vibe.
Oh, okay. So I should just live in California then.
I mean, you can come hang out with me at least this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's on the? I mean, as I said, you announced. Well, you put up the post that you had won Georgia South, and all this,
Mhm.
pageant community came to support you and say how amazing it is. What would it be like to you to take out, first the Georgia title, hopefully, and then the Miss USA title itself? What I guess the question is, why do so many people look up to you and love you? And I don't say this to blow smoke, but I think it's important, right? If you're going to be a title holder, especially Miss USA, you need to be someone who's not only inspiring, but I also think relatable, so that
Mhm.
other, young girls can look at you and go, one day I could maybe be like her. So how have you managed to cultivate this like huge following that obviously follows you and loves you?
Well, that's the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna listen to that blurb you just said to me when I start to feel sad.
Clip it out.
I'm gonna clip it out, send it to me. Um, I think the beauty of what my journey has spoke to is I've taken people along the ride. I've been real. I've shown the good, bad, and the ugly. Like this highlight reel has been very exposing of me. But I think what is true is that I've been Savannah this whole time. For me, pageants have become my family. It's become, my
Mm,
closest friends. When I think of the pageant world, it feels like family to me. And that's why re-entering for me and going on this journey all over again, which is so intimidating, was like the sweetest reunion I could have ever asked for. And I think for a lot of people, this isn't just a competition, Savannah for Miss USA. This is all of us and the collection of so many people who have poured into me, and who are on this ride with me. And I think what you said, like, if I can do this, then anyone can do this too. And hopefully, Georgia's never won Miss Teen USA or Miss USA. And
oh, I didn't know
never,
that.
not one time
Wow,
in the
that's
history.
surprising.
I know. We've gotten close a few times, but never won. And that has always kind of been echoing in my head when I started competing.
Mm, yeah,
That's a very big thing that we've never won Miss USA. We're
yeah,
Georgia is an iconic pageant state. And I'm like, why are we
yeah.
not capturing the biggest titles in this hobby? And so I think if I can leave that legacy of winning Miss USA, the first woman from Georgia to capture either title,
Mm,
I can walk away from this 10 years of my life at the end of this, hopefully, and feel like I left some historic value to this for young
mm.
girls to follow.
I mean, you mentioned getting back into the pageant world was intimidating. My
Yeah,
my question is, really? Like for you, it's still
it was.
intimidating.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're putting yourself back out there to be judged, quite literally, and with
Fair
hopes that
enough.
they'll see what people in the past have seen in you.
Yeah, I think that's just worth bearing in mind that even someone who's been around pageants as long as you have and has been as successful as you have still finds it a little bit daunting and
Yeah.
intimidating to put the heels back on. And day to day life, how often are you wearing like the pageant kind of the full face of makeup, the high heels, and all that? Like day to day, are you? I mean, in that video, the Renault video, obviously you're not wearing high heels, but what's day to day
0% of the
in or
time.
Savannah? Yeah. Well, zero. Yeah.
0% of the time. If you ever ran into me in the grocery store, I mean, I love a good tinted moisturizer. I'll always have a like, little tinted moisturizer on. I'm a super girly girl. I will be in like sweatpants, leggings. They will be pink. There may be some sparkles
Of
going on
course.
somewhere, but absolutely not. If you ever catch me in like some 8-inch heels at the grocery store, I don't know what just happened to me or what I was doing before, but that is
Maybe you
not
just
me every
won Miss
day.
USA and you're hungry and
Maybe
you're
I
going
just
to
won
buy
Miss
something to
USA.
eat.
That is probably the only time you would see that. But no, real life Savannah. You know what? I call myself pageant Savannah and real life Savannah. Most people know
Yeah.
real life Savannah, and then just a select few, especially my friends in the pageant world, get to see pageant Savannah. Real Savannah is a lot more chill.
That's good to know. I mean, talking about pageants and eating afterwards, you had this whole thing of you eating that burger, which I then turned into a meme, which everyone
I
loved.
love it.
And your mum did say that she loves a good burger. Walk us, so real life Savannah, because that's after the pageant. What favorite foods? I don't think I've ever asked you this. I know we've talked about crepes, but your mum said you love a good
I do.
burger. So give me some like favorite foods.
I am a huge sushi girl. I love sushi. Oh my gosh, you know what I love? I love Indian food, like garlic naan.
Oh
So
wow, okay.
good. Have you ever had Indian food?
Yeah, yeah, we have a lot of it here, but this is the first time
Okay.
I've heard of an American talking about Indian food.
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
love
because
Indian
a
food.
lot of you don't. A lot of you don't, and this goes back to the UK as well. They don't like spice, and I mean when I
Oh,
say spice, I mean heat. And they think of Indian food as really like burning your mouth out. So you're the first
I
American
love
I've
a
ever
good
heard
spice.
actually saying that they love Indian food.
Really? Okay, I love
Surprising.
spice. Like
Yeah.
I love Thai food. Anything that like gives me a little like pick me up with some
Kick.
spice, I'm here for it.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. And the other thing I was going to ask is, oh, where do you stand on? Because it's coming around to Halloween soon. Halloween is not a big thing here in Australia, but every time it
Okay.
comes around to this time of the year, like fall for you guys, we call it autumn. Everyone starts posting about pumpkin spice. Like, where do you
Mm.
stand on this pumpkin spice? I don't understand what it is because I've never had one. So is this pumpkin spice latte? Is what? Can you explain to me why this is such a? Okay, you can stop standing and looking at me like that. I don't
I need your
understand. I've
address
never had
immediately.
one.
I need your address immediately. I'm going to need an Uber Eats you pumpkin spice latte for this video. Um, they're incredible. I mean, okay, you know what I think it is that Starbucks has great marketing. They only allow you to have pumpkin spice lattes like 2 or 3 months out of the year. So when
That's
those
clever.
2 or 3 months come, we are like freaking out because they are pretty good. You know, I actually got my first one a few weeks ago. I actually posted on Instagram. You would have seen it. The pumpkin spice chai, like it's like a sweet cream with chai.
Right.
That is so good. If you go to, you know what? I'm gonna mail you one. I'm gonna find how to send Starbucks to
I,
Australia. You need to
don't
try
send
it.
me don't send it in the mail. It's not gonna. I will
I will
go
Uber Eats
after
it.
this. I will find a Starbucks somewhere near me. Can I get one in
Yes,
Australia? Is a thing. I don't know if it's a
I'm
thing here. This is why
sure.
I'm so confused. I'm
Let
sure.
me look it up.
If I
I feel
find
like it
one,
has to be.
if I
If
find one,
you,
I will get one and I will post a reaction video and I'll tag you in it. Okay. So I think
yes, I
I
need
feel
you.
like I need to experience this firsthand. Are you looking up this
I am
pumpkin spice?
pumpkin spice in Australia. Okay, let's see. They are available in Australia. Is pumpkin spice latte available in Australia? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
expecting you to go there this morning. You said you needed a full
Yeah.
cup of coffee. This is what you need.
But there's no caffeine in that, is there?
There's a little caffeine. It's caffeinated. Chai has a little caffeine, I think. Caffeinated tea.
It looks mainly like cream and sugar from what I've seen. But
Well,
I
that
mean,
might be true. That might outweigh the caffeine.
yeah. Look, I'll give it a go. I'll post my thoughts and I'll tag you in it. I'm not the biggest sweets person. See, you had me at the sushi and the Indian. I get lost at the pumpkin spice latte. So
Mm,
I'll give it a go.
I love it.
Okay. Before we move to the wrap up, let me go back to one deeper question. Obviously, you've come a long way. We've known each other for a long time.
Okay.
And if you were to be Miss USA, I think the biggest thing for me in a title holder is what does she stand for? Like, what does she represent? And by that, I don't mean a particular person or a state. I mean kind of like the beliefs and values, because I like to think that's
Mhm.
what makes a person tick. Like, what's really important to them. So over the years, through the good, the bad, the ugly, as you said, what have you realized to become sort of the biggest values for yourself, or what do you really look for in a person?
I think I think as I've, grown up and seen the world and faced the world, what I have come to firmly believe in my firm foundation at the core of who I am is that everyone on this earth is has should have the right to have respect and inclusion and love. And honestly, just the human nature to want to receive love and want to give love.
Mm,
And I think that that shines in everyone and should be reflected in every area of the world in every person you ever meet. And I think that's one of the jobs of a pageant queen and a pageant title holder is to truly just be this light of hope, this light of love
mm,
that you have to, step into this world beaming that. The world can be a dark place. The world, is rough for everyone. There's not one person who can say they've not had one trial or tribulation in their entire life. And if you can, more power to you. I love that for you.
I don't know
Um,
what planet you're living on, if you can say that, to be honest.
right? But I think just the firm belief that, there's so much beauty in this world, regardless of where you come from or what you stand for. we are all human at the end of the day. If we peel off the layers of all of these things and all of these hobbies and what we love and politics and all of this and just love each other, that's what I think that the message for the world should be.
Yeah. I think definitely in the States at the moment, it just seems more and more divided every day. In fact, the
Yes.
world is going through a pretty, I would say, troubling and conflicting time at the moment. And it's like, don't turn on the news, basically. It's every day you turn it on, it's just getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if
being
it's
that
just
beacon
here.
of
It's like it's
positivity.
everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah,
beacon
yeah,
of
no,
positivity is true.
it's spreading. Well, what have you got coming up for the rest of the year, just before we wrap up?
Well, we're going to Miss Universe in November,
Mhm.
so that'll be fun to be around the pageant family, as I say. So that's big on the list. Just preparing for Georgia, doing all the fun things, all the photo shoots, all the prep. This is a bit of the fun, relaxed pace right now before we kick into the sprint mode.
This is fun and relaxed, is it?
This is fun and relaxed, which we love. So I'm enjoying this, just enjoying being Miss Georgia South. I don't know if you remember, I was Miss Georgia South as a teen as well. That's the title I was when I won Georgia
No,
Teen.
no,
Yeah, so
that goes back to before I knew you.
it does, shockingly. So a little bit ago, I won Miss Georgia South Teen USA. That was the title I was when I won Miss Georgia Teen USA. So
Right,
um,
okay.
so it's just like beautiful full circle moment for me to like hold the title of Miss Georgia South as a miss and
Mm.
hopefully, start this chapter of my life all over again. So I'm really just loving every minute of it doing this, and just trying to live in the now and not worry or get in my head about what the future may hold.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Do you remember how
Yeah.
you felt when you won your title of Miss Georgia South Teen?
How I felt? Oh my gosh, I was over the moon. So in Georgia, they only have a really Georgia South is the only preliminary in the state of Georgia. They go to Miss
Oh,
Georgia
wow, okay.
USA. So
Right.
everyone who wants to compete competes there first to see how
Yeah,
they rank up, to see if they can get their entry fee paid for Miss Georgia USA.
yeah.
And so when I won as a teen, that was like the first validation that I felt that I might could actually do this. I might could actually
Mhm.
do this thing.
Yeah,
Um, and so for me, it was I gained a beautiful family. The Miss Georgia South board is second to none. Um, and I'm so excited to have them again. And it kind of just is validation that this could actually work out. This could go there. So I'm excited for what might come.
the reason I asked you if you can remember is so you can remember that clearly.
Hmm.
How did that feeling compare and contrast to the one when you won Miss Georgia South USA 7 years, 8 years later?
I feel like I thought that meant, I mean, that was so iconic for me and such a, like, I treasure that. For
Yeah,
for now, when I won, it had a whole different layer added to it.
sure. Yeah.
It was had facing all this pressure and for it to work out. And I worked so hard because I was so afraid if I didn't work out, I was gonna say, oh, it was because I didn't run an
You
extra
give
mile
yourself
on the
an
treadmill.
excuse. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I gave myself no excuses. And so it was just the most beautiful full circle moment to be doing
Mm,
this again with this title across my chest one more time.
yeah. You know all that hard
Beautiful.
work paid off, which is a good
Yes,
feeling to have.
for
Well,
sure.
I have to go and get a pumpkin spice latte. Apparently,
You
that's my
do?
homework. So just before we do that, anyone you want to give a shout out to for supporting you? I mean, you've got a big pageant family, but
I got
any
a
shout
big pageant
outs?
family. I mean, can I tell the whole pageant world? I don't know how I'm going to tell everyone.
Sure.
I love them all.
Okay, fair enough. Let's zip through these same 10 questions. This will be your third time through. I don't remember
Oh,
any of your
Lord.
answers. We can treat it as a first time. Don't
I
take
don't
too long
remember
because
any
I need to get a
questions.
pumpkin spice latte. We'll see if I can remember the questions because it's been a while. All right, so number one, what is your favorite
Okay.
word?
My favorite word? Probably. Okay, well, word, can I say a phrase?
Sure.
Okay, well, my favorite word, I would say love. Like, or I'll be like, I love
Okay.
that. I love that for
Yeah.
you. Love.
Perfect. All right. Number two, least favorite word.
Probably my least favorite word. Probably that they're out of something. Like we're out. That's it. Like if you went to Starbucks and they were out of pumpkin spice lattes, that would be the worst thing I've ever heard.
Don't jinx me. Like, why? You're going to send me to go and get a pumpkin spice latte. I've got this whole anticipatory thing going on. You're like, oh, we're out. Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen.
If it does,
Number
specifically.
in life, number 3, in life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
Mm. I think just fulfilling purposes. I think seeing people happy and going after their craziest dreams, that's the ultimate turn on in life.
What turns you off?
I think laziness. Yeah, laziness, not going after what you know is meant for you.
What sound do you love?
Sound do I love? Mm, I love a good like pop song. Like I love a good little like pick me up morning, like a very cheesy good morning song. You know what I love? If you've ever listened to that song, I think it's literally Snoop Dogg, and he has an affirmation song. You have to insert it
Did not
here,
know that.
but it's so good. It's like this little like cheesy, like for children affirmation song, and it's like affirmations are a positive statement. But there's like, okay, I'm a lover of those kind of cheesy, happy songs.
Good to know. What sound do you hate?
Mm, what sound do I hate? Honestly, I hate silence. I need everyone to talk.
You're not comfortable sitting in silence?
No, 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 no. We all need to talk about something. Someone needs to do something. We need to turn on something. Music, a movie, I don't care. Just not complete silence.
You've just given me a great thought, because I've watched a few other interviewers, and there's this, I can't remember who it is. It's one of the American talk show hosts, and he has this portion in his interview where they do this awkward silence, and they literally just
I
he
would be
sits there
so
with his
uncomfortable. I'd be like,
I think that'd be interesting to do. Okay, number 7. If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
oh, absolutely. If I could teleport places, I spend way too much time on planes. If I could just snap my fingers and be anywhere, I'd be eating sushi in Japan right now if I could.
That would be the dream. As someone from Australia who
Okay.
takes 5 years to fly anywhere, that would definitely be a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. What job would you most like to attempt?
Oh, most like to attempt. You know what I would love to do, but only for like a short amount of time. I would love to like be an artist, like some kind of. I don't have the talent to do that. God did not bless me with that. He knew if He did, I would be the most insane, crazy person doing it everywhere. But if I could like paint like the most beautiful, iconic paintings, I would be putting them everywhere.
Have you ever given painting or drawing a go?
I have. I have. I took some drawing classes in my college, and
And
I'm glad I passed the class, but I don't think there's a future for me anywhere.
what went worse, the art side or the tennis side? Just so I know. Or what went best? Let me ask it positively. What
You know
went
what?
better?
I think the art was probably I could have learned. The tennis, I'm gonna have to leave for other people to do.
I'm a pretty good coach, okay? I may be able to, revive this sort of dream. Maybe. I don't
I
know.
need that. You know what? I feel like when I go to Australia, I need a full tennis makeover. We need to just try it a few times, and then you're gonna be like, there is no hope for her.
Well, you've got the outfit, you've got the racket. I
I
was
have the
even talking
outfit.
to you about the racket bag to buy. So you've got the whole kit. You
Yes,
might as well put it to use.
I know. I know. My racket is purple too. It's so cute.
I'm going to enter you into Wimbledon, because that whole purple thing,
Oh,
that's a Wimbledon
I think that's
colors.
what the racket is Wimbledon.
There you go.
I just
You
learned
see?
there's like four big in tennis. I didn't even know
Four
there was like
Grand
four
Slams.
big. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Grand Slam. Okay, you speak the language.
Yeah.
I don't speak
Yeah.
the language.
The US Open. So the one that my plan next year is to go to the US Open, which is obviously in the Big Apple, because around the same time there's New York Fashion Week. And I know a lot of you guys go to New York Fashion Week. I was like, hang on, they happen at the same time every year. They're in the same place. I've
Oh my
always
god.
wanted to go and watch like a big tennis tournament. Like, and there's nothing bigger than the
Have you
US
been
Open.
to isn't there one in Australia, like the Australian Open?
Yeah, so Australian Open is always the beginning of the year. It's coming up in a couple of months.
Okay.
Sweltering hot here. Then there's the French, which
Are
is
you
on
gonna go to
Friday.
that?
I've been to that one.
Okay.
That one's fun. French Open. which is on clay, then Wimbledon, which is on grass, obviously in London, and then the US Open, which is in New York. And my dream has always been for a year. Like the whole reason, business wise, like an entrepreneur, I had this fantasy I can follow the tennis tour for a year because it goes through different countries. It travels a lot. They're traveling 11 months out of the year, similar to yourself. So if I could go to Melbourne in January and then head over to France, and I've been to France, back to the UK, I've been to London many times, and then end up in New York where I've been once. I think that'd just be cool.
Oh my God! Well,
plan.
If you come to New York for the US Open, I will muster up the courage to go watch some tennis for you.
It's not hard. You can sit in the stands with all the other celebrities. Like they'll have like a Bradley Cooper or Ryan Reynolds and the Hugh Jackman. So I think you'll blend in with the celebrity crowd.
I have a good pageant clap.
All right. Off track. Next question. Second to last question. What job would you not like to attempt?
I would be a horrible chef. Like if I was like trying to cook anything for like a restaurant, I would get so overwhelmed. It'd probably taste awful too. So I should just never get behind a chef's kitchen.
Well, so who cooks for you?
I can cook enough, but if I was cooking for like people who I didn't know, I would be like, oh, you do not need to pay for this at all. This is like completely free.
Okay. You haven't poisoned anyone, have you?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
Okay, because they died afterwards. All right, final question.
No one's called.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I mean, all the good things. I hope he say, good job, my child, you know, how we always hope he does, and that he's proud of all of the craziness that we have done in this world.
Beautiful. Well, Savannah, it's been a pleasure, as always. Round 3.
Round 4. Is this round 4 or 3?
Well, this is round 3, and then there was one on the podcast, but this is the third. This is the third interview. I still can't believe it's been 7 years. I still can't believe you're turning 24, and I also can't believe that
interviewing for 7 years.
Can't you see how it's aged me? I used got grey going on in the beard. I had to take like a year break. I mean, come on. This is also
like a picture of like you 7 years ago, me 7 years ago, and then us now. And they're like, what happened to them?
He used to be so beautiful. What happened to him?
Oh my God.
She used to be so positive and naive. What's happened to her now? Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, let's not do that. Yeah, no, let's not do that. Off track again. I have to go and get a pumpkin spice latte.
You have to go get a pumpkin spice latte. You do.
I will give you my thoughts. I will tag you in it.
I love that.
Thanks to everyone for watching, and we will speak to you next.